Hello everyone, and welcome to Unshredded, the show that is ripping off Unraveled and BDG's own works. And for this particular video, we are very blatantly ripping off Unraveled because I have a grievance or several with the Pokemon Edibility Unraveled. Now, I understand what BDG was going for. I understand that it's more about the narrative. However, when I watch Unraveled, I want both to be informed of something that I may not know and also entertained. And sometimes, for some of them, he leans more on entertainment than actually informing people. See also the Kirby one. It's pretty funny that like he does that to one of my favorite video game franchises. Meanwhile, Mega Man comes out totally unscathed, where I learn, oh, this is what this Robot Master does. But whatever. Anyway, Pokemon Edibility has a whole bunch of different like weird inconsistency and things that like you, the viewer, would have to like put research into to really understand how this kind of concept works. But there's also the thing that he says, which is that everyone's talked about this. Everyone's, done their own, everyone's got their own takes. And while, yes, that is true, most people, at least from what I've seen on YouTube, don't have the particular take that I have, which is that everyone's doing Pokemon edibility wrong. People talk about, oh, which one's the most edible? Which one's like, what would this Pokemon taste like? How would you prepare this Pokemon? And that first person has not been properly addressed. What Pokemon is the most edible? And there is not only a definitive answer, there is a way to quantify which Pokemon is the most edible. And people have not been thinking outside the box. So here, the box has been destroyed, and I free you. And you may think outside of it alongside me. Here is a tier list, a way to sort out Pokemon edibility. We are, in fact, ranking the most edible Pokemon, in a sense. Starting from top to bottom, quote, Swallow Whole is about Pokemon that you can just pick up and eat and you would have no problem. If you could unhinge your jaw and just home the whole thing, you very well could. Quote, The Whole Buffalo is about you can eat pretty much all of it, save for like fur, bones, what have you, things that wouldn't normally get in the way of eating like a chicken. At least half is pretty much that. At least half of this Pokemon is edible. Like, you may need to like cut out some organs, or maybe some specific muscle or things are not great. You would need to cut some amount out. Quote, a nice cut is about half or more of the Pokemon needing to like be cut out before you can eat the good bits. The good bits in a nice cut tier is much less than the stuff you would need to cut out. A little off the top, same thing, except even more so. There is very little that is worth eating about this Pokemon. In fact, it would be better if you just didn't eat them at all whatsoever. Completely inedible, exactly what it says on the box. Don't eat these guys. You will die, or it is just impossible to eat these guys. And mystery meat. This is the funniest here, because what is this guy? What is this dude? What does the meat taste like? Can you even eat this guy? Further research is needed to be done, but what kind of research are you doing about some of these guys? This is where a lot of legendary guys go, but there are a bunch of weirdos who go in here too. And we will go through each generation, not exhaustively, because good lord, that's over 1,000 people. And we will talk about some unique cases, while I also show where I rank each and every one of them, plus also some corrections after I've made these. And for this Thanksgiving type of video, I'm eating a bag of Bucky's Beaver Nugget, Beedoof Nuggets, ha 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 ha. What, you thought I was joking? Starting with Gen 1, as you can see, a lot of these fuckers are super edible. One big thing that I have a big grievance with in the Pokemon Edibility Unraveled video is that BDG just classifies the vast majority of poison types as inedible. You can't eat these guys, you will die. And I don't agree, because you can eat so many different poisonous animals. You just need to be smart about it. It's why some guys like the Arbok line, all the Nidos are like, you can eat those. You can cut out the various poison organs, that kind of like in Fugu, and you can totally eat those. I am making a correction about Golem being completely inedible, because you can see there's some meat coming out of the rock. Not a lot of it, but there is some. I would also like to point out that yes, Magikarp is in fact completely inedible, because it is generally believed that Magikarp in canon is all scale and bone, and just should not eat this guy. It's just like, it is a health hazard. I should also point out, if you have any objections or complaints about any of the placement for any 1000 plus of these guys, sure, leave it in the comment. Why not? Next, we got Gen 2. Much smaller gen. Way more edible. In fact, I would go so far as to say this is one of the most edible generations. Not a single legendary in Mystery Meat, unless you count Unknown as a legendary, and I certainly don't. It's really funny that completely inedible has Lava Slug and Snail, a big steel rock snake, and a funny dancing tree. Everyone else, you know, you can either like cut out some stuff, or you can eat these guys almost wholesale. I do wonder though, like, what is a Pupitar? Like, what is the meat situation like? Is it just organs? Is it just like a Kakuna and a Metapod? Or is it something more? Who knows? Generation 3 is probably home to the only legendary Pokemon that is in Swallow Hole tier, which is Regice. And I mean, like, come on, it is a golem made of ice. Other than, like, you know, the little dots that make up its face, I don't think you can, like, go wrong with eating the entirety of a Regice. It'd be boring, it'd be a little lame to just like start sucking on an ice golem, but you can do it. It's possible. Honestly, there's not a whole lot much to talk about, because like Generation 3, like, you can kind of tell what's edible and what's not. You would need to like really think about some stuff, like how Aggron has a lot of like stuff you need to like worry about, how Torkoal and Camerupt are like really, like, you gotta be careful with them, because these are like real big fire boys who have a lot of like dangerous stuff in them. And also, I don't know nothing about how Snorunt and Glalie work, because Snorunt is based on a child of a Yukiona. I don't remember what it's called. Here's the name. But Glalie is just a big head, and I don't know where the flesh starts and the head begins. Generation 4, now we're getting a little bit more complicated. This is where the most legendaries go into Mystery Meat, because I don't know how one would consume the Lake Trio, Space Time, a giant golem representing Continental Drift, literally Satan, literally the Guardian of Dreams, literally the Guardian of Nightmares, and God himself. How do you eat these guys? On the other hand, Manaphy is a weird case where I don't know how one would eat them, but I would say you could eat Fion. Why? Don't take this too seriously. Also, rip to the only person in a little off the top, Rhyperior. He's Rhyperior in everything except making friends. Generation 5, one of the biggest generations, and as such, there are way more dudes that are less edible than completely. while this is the generation that introduces the ice cream people, and they are extremely edible, some of the most edible Pokemon, let's not also forget, there are a bunch of like weird guys, because Gen 5, from what I remember, is some sort of like weird analog to Generation 1, where like every Pokemon has like some sort of like linking Pokemon with Generation 1, like how the garbage guys are technically like Grimer. As for specific shouts, I am jokingly saying that Solosis is extremely edible, as well as Duosian and Reuniclus. In reality, you can't eat these guys. It's possible, it's probably delicious, it fills you with infinite knowledge, and then you die. But I like to think, you know, in those moments after consuming one, you're like, man, this shit's so good. And then a few seconds later you die. So, you know, it's edible, but watch out. The only other one worth really mentioning is Alomomola in completely inedible. If you know anything about sunfish, you know that they're dumb, stupid idiots who would literally be better off if they had died, because they don't have the capacity for thoughts and can't even really feel pain, which is why there are a bunch of photos of Alomomola just swimming by looking normal despite the fact that a chunk of their head is missing, and that's also a deterrent for predators, because Alomomola taste horrible. So, you know, don't eat an Alomomola, because it's not like it'll hurt you, but in a way it's gonna hurt you. It'll do like -1 HP. You'll feel full, but it will hurt, if that makes sense. Gen 6, the smallest generation that we're gonna talk about. I'm also just straight up saying no Megas, no Gigantamax, no alternate forms, unless they are different enough to be in their own like unique slot. That being said, once again, you can eat the vast majority of these guys. That is one thing I agreed with BDG, that the vast majority of Pokemon, 3/4 of them even, are extremely edible. Speaking of extremely edible, except the opposite, it is quite funny that the only ones you can't eat are the swords in a shield, and a keyring. Gen 7, my personal favorite generation to play through, and also where, you know, my favorite guy in the whole wide universe comes from. Once again, we have just a little tiny dude all by themselves, Rip Toxapex, being just a little off the top, mostly because that head you see is literally the only thing you can eat. Everything else is horrible. Don't even bother trying. This generation, I believe, also has the most amount of mystery meat, and I want to point out the one outlier here in mystery meat. You have weird legendaries, ultra beasts, things you can't really like quantify like what it would taste like a Mimikyu and a Minior, but there's also a Kamala. Now, Kamala is weird because the koala bear that's on the wood is not the Pokemon. The wood is the Pokemon. You know this if caught a shiny Kamala and see that the wood changes color, and if you looked at all those Pokemon walking animations that were leaked so many years ago, and you see that the wood is doing the walking, not the koala bear. So it's like, what is a Kamala even? We don't know, and we don't know what it tastes like, because is the wood the Pokemon? Probably. What does the wood taste like? Is the wood flesh and blood? That's scary. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Generation 8, a lot more bottom heavy than one would think. There's not so many people in the whole Buffalo tier. This is a generation that's like a lot more even-handed about like what Pokemon is edible versus which one is not. You have some extremely edible people, like the whole Flapple line, but you also have some weird cases, like how you can't eat the Eldegoss line because, technically speaking, with humans, you can't really eat cotton. Like, the whole plant is pretty toxic to humans. There is edible cotton being GMO'd, but a Pokemon is not GMO'd, you know? And this is the first time, from what I'm seeing, again, I do this all off the rip, unscripted. The first time that a Pokemon's alternate form is like very clearly a different tier from the original. Because Corsola, you can eat Corsola. Corsola, it's fine. But Galarian Corsola is completely inedible because it is dead coral. And I'm pretty sure necrotized coral is also affecting the flesh itself. I believe it is unsafe to eat, which also goes for the evolved Galarian Corsola. God rest your soul. I'm also pointing out all the weird fossil boys because while you can actually very clearly identify what each individual like body part is supposed to be, I'm gonna say don't eat it because we're playing God with these guys and it's strange. Who knows if the flesh is even good or not. The shiny versions make them all gray and gross looking, so I'm gonna say mystery meat. Don't try to eat these unless you're doing research. And lastly, Generation 9, most recent generation, we're back once again to being a little bit top heavy. There are quite a number of like surprises of like, I guess this guy, you can eat them. There's also a lot more you can just eat the whole entire thing, guys. Shout out to continuing to carry the trend, Flappaline. Paradox Pokemon are also really funny with regards to this subject because some of these guys are edible, but only in the past. Every single future Paradox is a robot. You can't eat these guys. In fact, there's only one past Paradox Pokemon you cannot eat, and surprise, surprise, it's the freaking magnets. Also, shout out to the two little dudes that are in a little off the top. It's not because there's so little of them to eat after you cut out everything. It's that there's so little of them to eat, period. You do have to cut out some stuff, but like, even if you didn't do that, you would not be feeling full after eating these guys. One more thing, because these guys as a whole, only some of them, are not integrated into an existing Pokedex, here are the Pokemon Legends Arceus exclusive guys. Much smaller, but that's because these guys are exclusive to one game. I do want to say, me personally speaking, I don't like Hisuian, Sliggoo, and Goodra, because like Goodra is a friend. Goodra is like a funny guy, and I love him. He's my best friend. I don't want to look at Hisui and Goodra with those eyes. It makes me feel makes me feel weird in a bad way. The only way I can properly explain it is that like I don't like it makes me feel like Winnie the Pooh is giving me fuck me eyes. And with that, the greater discussion of Pokemon Edibility is done. Let's not do some calculations because I'm too lazy. However, I will talk about the top 5 most edible Pokemon there is. And these are all guys who are in Swallow Hole. Number 5, Miltank. Like, I know you gotta cut out the stuff, you gotta make sure the bones and the horn and stuff, but like a Miltank is a cow. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Like the meat, the milk, it is the most this guy can be food Pokemon outside of some others. Number 4 is Cherubi. This is just a cherry. This is 2 cherries even. Number 3, the whole ice cream line. It is ice cream. Number 2, the Slurpuff line. Like, it is these are just like cream. This is a cream boy. This is a creamy boy. And number 1, let's not kid ourselves. The Alcremie line. Now, what makes Alcremie more edible than the Swirlix line? A few things. 1, the pre-evolved form is just cream. You can suck that up with a straw. Number 2, you have to cook this guy. You have to prepare this guy in order to evolve him. It's pretty funny. Number 3, Gigantamax Alcremie is just like a 500-foot tall cake. Sure, you can't get anywhere with it, but like, come on, dude. It is just a 500-foot tall cake. Let's not kid ourselves. And for our final discussion point, the most edible line of Pokemon is the Applin line, because Like, come on. You have Applin, all right, you know, cool. You have Flapple, pretty cool. Appleton, extremely delicious. Diplin, which is a guy that like a lot of people are sleeping on in terms of edibility, and Hydrapple, same thing. There are 5 of these guys who are some of the most edible Pokemon ever, and they're all related to each other. It is the most edible line of Pokemon ever. Anyway, that's the end of the video. If you are currently listening to this while having Thanksgiving dinner, focus on your food. Don't pay attention to me. I'm just a guy who's eating some beef nuggets. And also, happy holidays.